There is a thought come to my mind that since the World War ends, America was made some kind of shop, a big grocery shop where the people are slaves that have to buy, that have to consume as much goods as they can. And whole system create for this, for people to consume even more. Think about this idea. You, no matter what is going on in the world, have to consume. Consume as much as you can, as much as you, I don't know, you don't even need to consume that much, but in essence, it's not the capitalism, it's not the capitalists, it's rich people and corporations that find a way to make you think that you're free, but in the same time they make you a consumping slave, I guess, if I say it correct. The whole idea of United States of America is that USA is biggest consumer of the world, right? USA is the biggest consumer of whole the world, and in the same time USA is the biggest debt holder, not holder, but you have a biggest debt in the whole world. It starts later than 50s, but the boom of the 50s and 60s was created after Europe was destroyed, USSR was destroyed, Japan destroyed, everything, every country in the world was in some shape or form destroyed or put at second position, I guess. And only country in the world that stays on, that live without any troubles, is USA. And capitalists create this whole big grocery shop, I guess. Since 70s they make a deal with China, and China start to provide goods that American will consume. And in the end, in essence, this system works like you, American citizens, is just slaves for this industry, retail industry. In essence, it's a retail industry. I know that many things that was produced in USA or made in USA or something along those lines, but with each year that passing by, more and more production was moved out of the country in the first place. And in the end, you have to have some industry for people to work somewhere and consume more goods. It's actually some consumption slavery, I guess. You cannot, and you live in this system since 1973, since Reaganomics begins, when money became worthless. They worth nothing for IRS. It doesn't matter how many taxes you will give. What matters is how many goods you will consume in the end, how many work you will produce, how many money you will gain, and how many goods you will consume in the end. The banking system is make this, I guess, social credit system when your worth in society, you worth something in society only when you pay out the debts. If you do not create, if you do not take loans, if you do not pay back your credits, you worthless for society. It's the whole banking system that created, financial sector that created. I don't know. Was it for purpose or it's just a symptom of this idea? But in the end, it's consumption slavery. You slaves of the consumption that have to go on. Because imagine this. Nation with only 200 million or 250 million people consume more than whole nations that, well, make around almost a billion of people, 500 million or 600 million in Europe. They consume less goods than nation that twice as less, maybe even more. Chinese, 200, well, almost 200 million people, if I'm correct, maybe less, and they consume less than Europe. They consume less than USA, but it's the most consuming country in the world. They consume everything, absolutely everything. You have to see, you have to understand the Japanese market, what goods they're selling to each other, how they produce cars and sell cars. They consume way more things, way more goods, but less money. And they do not owe so much money to banks and some financial services. But in United States, in some shape or form, you have to consume, and with years, you consume more and more goods that produced outside of the United States, because it was cheaper. And in essence, how I see it, somebody create a policy that American people have to be perfect consumers. And that's it. That's whole their purpose in this life. Born, you consume, you die. That's pretty much it. With time goes by, more industries was created for consumption, not for produce some goods and services. No, for consumption, for people consume even more. You have to consume, I don't know, 70 years ago you don't consume things that you consume now, but also you don't consume so much services that you consume now. And somebody create this idea, I guess, that United States will be the nation that will create a market where people will be not working hard, but they will be in debt forever to consume goods that will make money for rich people, make them even more rich than they used to. And with years goes by, you more and more in debt. Each family in United States in some shape or form almost each, not everybody, but almost each family, household in debt, and this debt is unpayable because it will last forever. And you, as a citizen of United States, market always ends. First they free the women or slaves, I don't know. First they free black people and create more market, then they free women and create more market, then they indoctrinate children and create even more market, and now they're trying to appeal to people that for people to come in United States, to people move in United States, migrate in United States, and consume goods in there, inside of United States, to make rich people even more richer. You can see it in example with Amazon. Amazon, it's a nothing, absolutely nothing, just a gigabytes of information. And what Jeff Bezos worth, he is the richest man in the world. Why? Because he is retailer. And in essence, this shows how people very much indoctrinated in the system. They will protect the system, they will die for this system, they will be fighting for the system, they will pay the debts for the system, etc., etc. It doesn't matter what you will tell them. But in the end, you are a perfect consumer that was created, indoctrinated in some shape or form. So you consume as much goods as you can, as much services as you can, to make these people rich. Rich people. Not you. Of course not you, please. You're in deep shit. You're in debt. Every household in debt, in some shape or form of the debt. And in essence, how I see it, you are the grocery shop, or maybe call yourself a mall. This is a just huge giant mall, United States of America, where people live to consume. People act like slaves. People enslaved by the system, by retail and services and business sector and banks. You make money for them, not for yourself. You live in not for yourself, you live in for them, for those people. You create money, you create wealth for them. You consume as much as you can. You die in attempt to consume as much as you can, etc. So you must, I don't know, this is how I see it. It's not you must. It's how I see it. It's how I see the situation. That you just a perfect consumer. And you was created and indoctrinated for this system to grow bigger and bigger and bigger. But in the end, people just simply will end. There will be no more people who can take even more debt. And someday this domino effect will play out, and one way or another, one man could not pay out the debt, and other man could not pay out the debt, etc., etc. And this domino effect will bring this economy down. It's logical. At least it's logical. I don't say that it's should happen, but it's logical that someday this level of the debt will be like in 2008. This level of the debt was pretty much overflowed the system. System handled this, but in some shape or form. But in essence, this ain't stopped. And now the situation is much, much worse than it was in 2008. So that means that one day this overflow will this is like a dump. But if last time it was just overflow of the dump and water just spills out a bit and some people suffer, next time probably it should just destroy the dam and the whole system will fall apart. It should be this way. It's logical. It sounds logical. I don't say that it's have to be this way. But what I see, how it feels, at least, it feels like you are a nation of consumers, and it's not by your will or wish or because your freedom. No. You was created, indoctrinated like this because some people wants to be rich. In the end, it's all about some people. It's not about all people will get rich. Because your level of consumption only shows how much debt do you take on to repay for the banks and the financial system. It doesn't show your own personal wealth at all. And I don't know what you will take on from it, but this is how I see. United States of America, it's just a huge mall where all the people are consumption slaves.